Hey guys, today we dive deep into a world that feels both ancient and alien, the dawn of giants in the Paleocene epoch, a time when Earth was shaking off the scars of mass extinction and monsters started to reclaim the land. Picture yourself trudging through a hot, humid jungle where every breath is thick with the scent of wet leaves and decay, and the ground pulses with the footsteps of creatures so massive, they almost blur the line between reality and nightmare. You might think the dinosaurs were always the biggest beasts around, but after their reign ended, the stage was set for a whole new cast of colossal animals to step forward. Yes, the 10 largest animals that ever walked the earth include some seriously surprising contenders, and one of the most terrifying is the TITANOBOA, a snake so huge it could swallow a small car whole. So, before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, while you're at it, why not drop your location and local time in the comments? It's fun to see who's tuning in from where, and maybe we can all imagine this prehistoric jungle together. Call on everyone to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Now, imagine this, it's about 60 million years ago, the Paleocene epoch. The world is different, lush, humid, and cloaked in dense rainforests that stretch across what we now call Colombia. The great dinosaurs have vanished, leaving behind a strangely quiet Earth, but this silence is deceptive. It's a time of upheaval and new beginnings, a stage reset where evolution revs back up with a vengeance. Gigantic mammals lumber across the landscapes, and in the water, ancient fish thrash beneath the surface. But perhaps most thrillingly, the reign of reptiles isn't over, it's just changing form. You might expect mammals to seize dominance instantly after the dinosaurs, but this jungle tells a different story. The humid heat and endless canopy create an environment where giant snakes thrive. Not just any snakes, massive serpents so enormous they redefine your concept of predator. TITANOBOA is the star here, a beast long gone but forever etched in stone and myth. Imagine a snake measuring over 40 feet long, heavier than a small car, silently gliding through murky waters and jungle floors, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The jungle itself feels alive with danger, one misstep could mean becoming a meal. But TITANOBOA isn't the only giant around. Early mammals, giant croc-like reptiles, and oversized fish all carve out their place in this ecosystem. These creatures wrestle with new survival rules, adapting to a world that's warmer, wetter, and more tangled than ever. You hear the distant roar of some unseen animal, the splash of something large diving into the river, the rustle of leaves signaling an ambush. It's a world where size means power, and every day is a fight to survive and rule. Here, the Paleocene's largest animals emerge, not just as relics of the past but as living forces that shape the world to come. It's a brutal, thrilling time when giants reign, and you can almost feel the pulse of ancient life beneath your feet. This is just the beginning of a story that stretches across jungles and time, where the shadow of TITANOBOA slithers long and dark. The jungle around you is dense and dripping with humidity, every leaf glistening with moisture under a thick canopy that blocks out the sun like a green fortress. You step carefully, knowing this is the realm of TITANOBOA, the nightmare that slithered through these forgotten Colombian jungles millions of years ago. Here, in the steamy, prehistoric rainforest, you're not just wandering through trees and vines, you're walking into the shadow of a predator so immense, it redefined what it meant to be a snake. TITANOBOA wasn't just big, no, it was colossal. Imagine a serpent stretching over 40 feet long, with a girth wide enough to crush a grown man, weighing in at nearly 2,500 pounds. It moves silently through murky rivers and swampy waters, using its thick muscles to glide like a living, breathing steel cable. You can almost hear the subtle ripples it creates as it displaces water, waiting for the perfect moment to coil around an unsuspecting giant fish or crocodile-like reptile. In this jungle, stealth is survival, and TITANOBOA's slithering power made it the undisputed ruler of this lush, deadly world. The air is thick with the sense of wet earth and rotting vegetation, but beneath that is something sharper, primordial, almost metallic, the scent of prey and predator locked in an ancient game of survival. Around you, the cries of distant animals echo, and the low rumble of unseen beasts moving through underbrush reminds you that every shadow could hold a threat or an opportunity. Giant croc-like creatures bask near riverbanks, their eyes like dark pits watching for movement, while enormous freshwater fish flash beneath the surface, their scales reflecting sunlight like shards of broken glass. But it's Titanoboa who commands the jungle, the silent hunter lurking beneath the water's surface. Unlike the snakes you know today, Titanoboa didn't rely on venom, it was pure power and constriction that made it deadly. Its massive body wrapped around prey, tightening until every breath stopped, a crushing force that could take down creatures much larger than itself. You can almost see the muscle fibers ripple beneath thick, scaly skin as it coils tighter and tighter. This snake's dominance wasn't just about size, it was about adaptation to a world hotter and wetter than anything we know today. The Paleocene jungles were like a sauna that never cooled, and Titanoboa thrived in that heat. Scientists believe the snake's size was linked to the climate, higher temperatures meant more oxygen and bigger animals all around. So, Titanoboa's reign was a perfect storm of environment and evolution. You imagine the moments when the snake's massive jaws open wide to swallow prey whole, creatures that would seem like giants in today's terms. Giant turtles, massive crocodilians, even early mammals, all part of a dangerous menu in this prehistoric banquet. The jungle isn't just a backdrop, it's an active participant, the swirling mist and tangled roots as vital as the snake itself. As you listen closely, you hear the distant splash of water, maybe a struggling fish caught in Titanoboa's grip. You watch the slow ripple spread across the river, a quiet reminder that in this jungle, survival is a dance of patience and deadly precision. The very ground beneath you seems to vibrate with the heartbeat of this giant serpent, a living force that slithered through forgotten worlds and still echoes in the fossilized bones unearthed today. The story of Titanoboa's realm is not just about a giant snake, it's about a jungle ecosystem thriving with giants, each adapted to a fierce and unforgiving landscape. It's a place where the air is heavy with anticipation, where every creature fights for its place in the sun, or the shadow of the serpent. You feel the tension in the air as the ancient jungle's delicate balance unfolds before you, a world where predator and prey are locked in a relentless dance. Titanoboa's domain isn't just a backdrop, it's an arena of raw survival, a stage set for brutal clashes that determine who lives and who becomes history. The giant snake's prey was no small fry, these were creatures as massive and formidable as the snake itself, and the battles between them shaped the pulse of this forgotten world. Imagine a colossal crocodile-like reptile, its armored scales shimmering under the dappled light, lurking just beneath the water's surface. It senses a movement, a subtle ripple, Titanoboa. The snake's eyes, cold and calculating, lock onto the prize. With a flash of power, the serpent coils around the beast's body, muscles tightening like a vice. The water churns, echoes of a struggle so fierce it would make your heart pound in your chest. The crocodilian thrashes, snapping jaws, desperate to break free. But Titanoboa's grip is relentless, its crushing force shuts down the fight with terrifying efficiency. Elsewhere, giant fish, some growing as large as small boats, dart through murky waters, a feast too tempting to ignore. Titanoboa hunts patiently, using the thick foliage and shadows as cover. It moves without a sound, a ghost in the dense green maze, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. A swift lunge, jaws open wide, and a massive fish disappears into the snake's cavernous mouth. The snake's digestive system is a marvel, engineered to handle prey much larger than itself, dissolving flesh and bone over days, leaving only remnants of scales and teeth. But it's not just reptiles and fish that Titanoboa contends with. Early mammals, awkward and slow compared to today's species, roam the jungle floor. Though small in comparison, they must navigate the constant threat of becoming a meal for this colossal predator. You can almost see a primitive mammal freeze at the edge of the river, nostrils flaring, ears twitching at every sound, living on a knife's edge between survival and extinction. The jungle is alive with tension, the constant push and pull of predator and prey. Every creature has evolved strategies to survive, sharp claws, armored shells, swift reflexes. But nothing quite matches the terrifying power of Titanoboa. Its size alone makes it a force of nature, but combined with lightning-fast strikes and an unyielding grip, it dominates the ecosystem. It's a chilling reminder that in the Paleocene jungles, survival wasn't just about speed or strength, it was about mastering the art of the kill. As the day fades and the jungle's chorus shifts to night sounds, the great serpent slips silently into shadow, a phantom ruler in a world of giants. You stand there, breath caught between awe and fear, knowing you've witnessed just a glimpse of a lost world where the line between hunter and hunted is blurred by size and power. Here, the battle for survival plays out not in distant history books but in the bones and stones uncovered by scientists today, telling the story of TITANOBOA'S reign and the creatures that challenged it. Now you step closer, too close, perhaps, to the thing itself. Not the myths or fossils, but the monster in flesh, in motion. You reach the heart of the Paleocene jungle, and it's not just heat or fear that grips you, it's awe. Because here, coiled beneath the moss-draped trees and half-submerged in blackwater swamps, lies the anatomy of terror. TITANOBOA isn't just big, it's built to kill. Every inch of its enormous body is a marvel of ancient engineering, perfected by nature to command and consume. You crouch by a log, eyeing a half-buried ripple in the mud. It's not a log. It's a vertebra, just one of hundreds, each as thick as a human thigh. The backbone alone tells a story of absurd strength, of muscular coordination that allowed this living nightmare to move with both grace and horrifying power. The snake's ribs flex like levers, creating a sinuous undulation that lets it glide forward almost effortlessly, over land or through the water. You realize, this wasn't a sluggish beast. This was a silent missile of bone and muscle. And then there's the head, not large compared to its body, but terrifying in design. TITANOBOA'S skull isn't made for venom. It's not a fanged assassin like some of today's snakes. No, it's a grappler. Its jaws unlock and stretch wide, so wide they can envelop prey whole. Teeth, dozens of curved, backward-facing spikes, line its gums, not to tear, but to hold. Once you go in, you're not coming back out. Its eyes were set forward just enough to judge depth. That subtle detail tells you something vital: this creature stalked. It chose. It didn't strike everything, it picked targets, waited for openings, and then committed with terrifying speed. You can almost hear the rush of water as it lunges, the sound of scales dragging across stone and root as it surges forward. TITANOBOA'S internal systems were just as daunting. To feed that vast body, its metabolism had to be ferocious, but also patient. It could go weeks or even months between meals, digesting slowly, letting time and heat do their work. That's why it could afford to hunt large game. It didn't need many kills. One successful strike, one swallowed beast, and the jungle's top predator could disappear into the underbrush and wait, full and content. You step back, heart pounding with that eerie thrill of being in the presence of something ancient and beyond comprehension. But even terror has elegance. There's a kind of brutal beauty in how everything fits, how the thick body stores strength, how the ribs push like pistons, how the mouth unhinges in a geometric dance. You almost want to applaud, if your hands weren't clammy with sweat. A joke forms in your head, something like, well, at least you wouldn't feel anything. Just, squish. But it dies on your lips. Because this isn't fiction. This lived. It ruled. And unlike dragons or sea monsters, we've found the bones. We've traced the impressions in ancient sediment. TITANOBOA isn't a myth. It's history with teeth. The true terror of TITANOBOA isn't just that it could kill. It's that it did, over and over. For millions of years, this snake slithered unseen through the dark arteries of ancient Colombia, ambushing, constricting, swallowing, and vanishing. And perhaps the most haunting part. Its design was so effective, so optimized, that no predator has come close since. Not even the anaconda, today's largest snake, can challenge the ghost of TITANOBOA. It's like comparing a pickup truck to a freight train. You feel a whisper of wind through the canopy. It rustles the leaves above, brushing your face with humid breath. And in that moment, you wonder, what if something that perfect never really left? What if, deep in some uncharted jungle or river delta, the legend isn't finished? It's a fleeting thought, ridiculous, right? But still, you check behind you. Just in case.